17 strokes. You count them the way you always count them, the way your hands learned before your mind had words for why. The myrrh oil catches the lamplight as it moves through your domina's hair, and the bronze mirror gives back a room that is slightly wrong-shaped, both of you distorted in the metal, her shoulders rigid beneath the silk, your hands perfectly, uselessly steady. Flavia Metella has not met your eyes in 3 days. You notice this the way you notice everything in this house. The way a person notices weather when their entire life is lived outside. You file it somewhere quiet and keep stroking. The man arrives mid-morning. You hear him from the kitchen, his voice lower than a transaction requires, which means it is a large one. You dry your hands on a linen cloth and stand near the doorway without appearing to. He carries a wooden tablet and speaks with your dominus for less time than it takes to eat a fig. At one point he looks at you, not with cruelty, with assessment, the way a man at the market looks at hanging meat, weighing it against the coin in his hand. You have watched this happen to others. The fuller's girl 2 streets over, the cook at the house of Gaius Secundus. You know what the tablet is before anyone tells you. You know what you are before Roman law ever had to say it out loud. You are res, a thing, a line on a ledger, and the ledger is being revised. You ask, in the most servile voice you have ever manufactured, where you are being sent. Flavia finally looks at you. She says the name, the Lupanare. The word doesn't shatter you. It lands the way cold water lands, total and immediate, the shock of it, less about pain than about the sudden awareness of your own skin. You have 60 sestertii hidden in a cloth beneath a loose floor tile in the kitchen. 3 years of invisible accumulation. It is not yours by law. It never was. Nothing about you is yours by law. Flavia's hand smooths her stola, tidying up after a minor inconvenience, and you understand with absolute precision that you were never indispensable. You were just expensive enough to keep until you weren't. You walk beside the man with the tablet through Pompeii streets. He doesn't restrain you. He doesn't need to. Every free person on this street is a potential captor, and the law, the Senatus Consultum Silenianum, exists precisely to remind the city that the entire social order depends on your compliance. You pass the bakeries exhaling warm bread, the thermopolia with their sunken pots of lentils and wine, a wall where someone has scratched in rough Latin, quis amat valeat. Whoever loves, may he thrive. The irony settles into you without expression. The Lupanare sits on a street corner near the Forum. From the outside it is unremarkable. Stone, 2 stories, a narrow entrance that forces you to turn sideways to enter. Inside, a ground floor corridor of small cells, each barely wide enough for a stone bed and a straw-stuffed mattress, 1 oil lamp per room. The walls are painted, the paintings are explicit. They are also, you understand within seconds, the priceless. You look at them and do arithmetic before you do anything else. It is the only mercy your brain offers. The madam is a freed woman named Glycera. She has a scar along her jaw she does not explain, and eyes that have catalogued every feeling you are currently experiencing and moved past each one years ago. She looks at you like a carpenter assessing new lumber, not unkindly, but without sentiment. She tells you your name here will be Lydia. She says it the way someone offers a gift they know you cannot refuse. The corridor smells of lamp oil and something underneath it that takes you a week to name. Accumulated time. The smell of days that do not belong to the people living them. You do not do what Glycera expects. You do not weep hollow or go silent or beat the stone walls with your fists. Instead, you watch. This is what you know how to do. You map the Lupanar the way you mapped Flavia's household. Who holds power, who resents it, where the cracks run. There are 4 other slave women here. One, a Syrian girl named Myrrh, who arrived 8 months ago, has learned to disappear during working hours and reappear fully in the gaps between. She teaches you how to wedge a shard of broken pottery under your cell door. It doesn't lock, it slows, small sovereignty. You accept it without ceremony. You learn the economics. A client pays between 2 and 8 asses depending on rate and floor. The lower cells are cheaper. You begin mentally reconstructing your peculium calculation from 0, and you rebuild it on steadier ground this time, because you are not building on hope. You are building on information. Glycera, you learn by watching, was herself a meretrix in this corridor once. She purchased her freedom at 28. The current dominus, a businessman in Naples who has never visited the building he owns, collects his percentage through a freedman agent every kalends. Glycera manages the rest. You watch her manage it. You watch the specific way her stylus moves when she records certain figures. You watch the column she labels maintenance. You file all of it away in the quiet part of your mind that has always understood more than it was permitted to say. 3 weeks in, during the afternoon hour when Glycera sleeps and the ground floor goes still, you slip into the record room. It is a small space off the corridor, cool, smelling of beeswax tablets and old smoke. You can read. No one here knows you can read. You find the ownership documents, the agent's schedule, the main ledger, and then you find Glycera's secondary column. 8 years of precisely skimmed figures, 4% per period disguised as maintenance costs. You do the math in your head. The number is substantial. You set the tablet back exactly as you found it. You leave no mark. You return to your cell and sit on the stone bed in the lamplight and understand that you are not the only person in this building building toward an exit. You hold this knowledge the way you would hold a coin you haven't spent yet, carefully, without letting it show in your face. Myrrh tells you 3 months later about the man named Titus, a freedman, regular client. He has promised her across many visits and much sincerity to purchase her freedom. She speaks about him the way people speak about things they need to be true. You check the register. Titus has visited 4 times in the last month. 2 of those visits were not with Myrrh. You sit with this for a day. Then you tell her to slow down, to verify carefully, to be patient. You give her the shape of the truth without its full weight. You watch her face go very still when you say it, not crumbling, just recalibrating. And you understand that you have not protected her. You have made yourself feel useful at her expense. The guilt sits in your chest like a stone that doesn't warm. Then the agent sends word from Naples. The Dominus is liquidating. The Lupanare and its inventory, the women inside it, you, Myrrh, all of you, will be auctioned at the Calends. Glycera's arrangement collapses the moment a new owner's hand touches the door. Your accumulated balance? Whatever Glycera has been quietly logging goes with it. A hairline crack has appeared on the wall of your cell overnight. You trace it with one finger in the dark, feeling where the stone has begun to give. You go to Glycera the next morning with everything, not as a threat, as a proposal. You tell her you've been reading her ledgers for 2 months. You watch her stillness in a total composed stillness, the stillness of a woman who has survived by never reacting faster than necessary. You tell her you know the figure in the maintenance column. You tell her the agent arrives in 9 days. Then you hand her a letter you've written yourself, in clean Latin, on a wax tablet you borrowed without asking. It proposes that Glycera purchased the Lupanare directly, using her accumulated skim as the initial payment, with the remainder structured as a debt against future earnings. You have calculated the numbers across 3 nights. They work, barely, but barely is a door. She reads it twice. She looks at you for a long time. She says quietly that she has been trying to work out how to do this for 4 years. You did it in 2 months. The arrangement she offers in return is precise and unsentimental. Your peculium account doubles, documented in the maintenance column under a different line. Freedom is 14 months away on paper. She hands you a stylus. Your hand closes around it the way a drowning person closes around wood. The agent accepts the restructured proposal. Glycera signs the documents. The auction is cancelled. You are 190 sestertii into a number that now has a ceiling. The mountain above the city has been exhaling something thin and pale on the horizon for several weeks. The wells have gone sulphurous in 2 of the southern neighborhoods. People read these signs as divine displeasure and continue their business, because cities always continue their business. Myrrh comes to your cell at dawn on a Tuesday. She has a contact, a grain merchant heading north. She is leaving, not purchased, running. She asks you to come. You do the math again instantly. 14 months against the open road, against the slave catchers, against a law built specifically to catch people making exactly this choice. You tell her you cannot. You tell her to go before the light changes. You press 40 sestertii into her hands, 2 months of accumulation, gone in a breath, and she grips your fingers and says nothing useful and disappears through the narrow door. You sit in the silence after and do not cry. You have 1 fewer ally and 2 fewer months of savings, and you are still, by every measure that matters, exactly where you were. This is the part they don't tell you about survival. It is mostly repetition. It is mostly waking up and beginning the count again. 12 months pass. The city is loud and heat-baked and ordinary on the morning of August 24th. You are 50 sestertii from the number Glycera has agreed to accept. 2 months. You are sitting in the record room with the stylus in your hand, copying figures into the maintenance column, when the mountain opens. The Lupanare of Pompeii is still standing. Archaeologists found it nearly 1,700 years later, almost perfectly preserved. The stone beds, the oil lamp alcoves, the erotic frescoes that served as a price list, and the client graffiti scratched into the plaster walls. The accounting records are ash. The women's names are ash. But the stylus, the act of writing, of reading, of counting towards something, that is the part the mountain cannot bury, because it was never carved into stone. It was carried. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.